Hey, it's HighTechDad, and normally I'm pretty good at repairing things like an iPhone and things like that, but I've also been known to do some really easy fix-its on my car here. And one thing that you'll notice here is that there's a light here that's on and a light here that's not on. So I'm going to show you how to replace both the front headlights on a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Hopefully it's going to be an easy process, but I'm going to walk through all the steps and show you the easy side and the hard side. Supposedly driver's side's kind of hard, passenger side's kind of easy. So let's take a look. So these are the parts and tools that I'm going to try to do this bulb replacement using. So first of all, you need a pair of gloves. These are pretty thin, just sort of automotive gloves, because you do not want to be actually touching the bulb with your fingers, because the oil from your fingers will cause the life of the bulb to actually go down. So then I picked up a pair of Sylvania Extra Vision. These are supposedly a little bit brighter than what comes with the car. The size is H11. It says it's rated for 230 hours. So we'll see how long it's actually going to take. You should do both of them at the same time. It's because they tend to go out at the same time. When I had mine replaced at the dealership, they only replaced one. So obviously the one that went out is the one that they replaced. And then I have a socket wrench here with two sockets. One is a 12 millimeter and one is a 10 millimeter, and that's going to be used on the driver's side because you actually have to remove the light housing, whereas on the passenger side it's a lot easier. So I'm going to actually start with the harder side first, and then feel a little bit better about myself hopefully when I do the passenger side. So let's dive into it. So the first thing you want to do is actually remove the power to the headlight. So all you got to do is just basically disconnect this right here. Comes off really easily, probably the easiest thing of this whole process. The next thing, since the lights are actually inside of this dust cover here, you need to somehow get access to that dust cover. So the fuse box is really intelligently in the way here. So the only way to really get at it, unless you have tiny fingers, which I don't, is to actually remove these two 10 millimeter, using a 10 millimeter socket, remove these two bolts, and then remove another one up at the top of the housing, which is a 12 millimeter. So I'm going to do that, and then you basically have to lift the light out, and that's supposed to be the hardest thing here. And then, but once you do, you pull it out and you can have access to that dust cover and open it up and get the light bulb out. So I'm going to start by removing these two bolts here with the 10 millimeter. It should be pretty easy. Do note there are some washers that you need to save, so be sure that you save them. Okay, next we're going to remove the bolt up here, and you're going to use the 12 millimeter socket. I realize I think I've been saying sprocket. I don't know the names of these tools. I'm the tech guy. So anyway, socket wrench, socket, 12 millimeter. Let's take this off. So this next part is supposedly the hardest part. So basically what you need to do is lift this out, and I don't know how hard it's gonna be, I've never done it before, but you gotta basically rock it, and it seems to be loose, which is good. I've seen other videos where people had to take off the bumper and that sort of thing, but I think the designers of this car probably didn't intend that. So I'm gonna just keep trying to rock this off, and hopefully we'll be able to get at the headlights. Not too bad. Got it up. Almost got it. I think it's just caught on one little thing somewhere. So there we go. So got it off. That's all you need to do. Voila. And so all we're doing now is we're going to be taking out this dust cover, putting in the new bulb, and then we put it back in. So not that hard. So we got the light off. So all we got to do now is remove the old bulb. So you turn the dust cover counterclockwise here. Boom, comes off. Save that. And then the light is right in here. So it too needs to be disconnected. You just squeeze the little plastic tabs like that, pull it out. Notice there is a little slot in the top here which helps you line up the bulb, but then you pull that out, and then the bulb itself also comes out counterclockwise. So boom, let's see it twisted, and there it is. Old bulb out, gonna get the new bulb and put it in. All right, so here's the new bulb. Looks really bright, right? Well, we'll see. Anyway, remember, don't touch the bulb if you don't have to. So to put it back in, you just do the same thing but in reverse. So you're gonna put it in. There's usually only one real way to go in, and there are little notches that are sized so that you don't put it in the wrong way. So let's see. That looks like everything's in there, and then you twist it clockwise, and then you take the cable here and you just plug it back into the light bulb that you just put in, and there it is. So last step is put the dust cover back on, turn it clockwise, and now we can put the light back onto the car. Alright, so putting this back on is a little bit trickier, mainly because there's some little latches right here and here that correspond to these little guys right here. And so the trick is you have to put it in and then get it to snap in there. So what I recommend doing is take your time. I started at the top here, and I haven't successfully attached it yet. This is my first time. So I started at the top here, and then you just sort of have to check to see if you can line up with those tabs that are underneath. So it may take some forcing and things like that, but eventually it should just pop right in. So it might take some wiggling. I almost have that one. It's pushing down on the top. I may need to go get a screwdriver and put it in. Oh, there we go. Got that one. You can actually see them. So that one's in. I think, oh, there we go. Looks like I got it. So holes are lining up. It feels pretty solid. Hopefully I won't have rattles when I'm driving later. But thumbs up, got it back in. So I'm gonna put the bolts back in. And also don't forget, reconnect the wires. I'm gonna do that now on this one. And then I can actually test it out before I put the bolts back on. So I'm gonna try that. All right, so we have some light there. That's a good sign. Hey, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the bolts back on now. All right, so I'm starting with the 12 millimeter socket. See, I said it right that time. And probably could have hand tightened this a bit. I have to say this is a little bit easier working at such a large size compared to replacing a battery on an iPhone. But still, I know a little bit more about that and not that much about cars. Alright, so this is all tightened down. Switching to the 10 millimeter socket. I already put the nuts in here. Just tighten them down by hand a little bit. And then should be done with the driver's side, and then supposedly the passenger side's a lot easier. So hopefully we'll be done pretty quick here. Alright, that one tightened. That one's tightened. Feel solid. Let's go over to the passenger side. Now time for the passenger side. So first of all, you can disconnect the power again. I just always like doing that. I do that when I'm working on computers as well. Always better that way. Next step, here's the dust guard that covers the bulb. So on the driver's side, it was a lot harder to get at. This one, you don't have anything in the way, no fuse box, no nothing. So twist it counterclockwise. That comes right off. Don't lose your seal. There's a seal that's on there. And then remember to be wearing your gloves. Then inside, you do the same thing where you twist the bulb counterclockwise, and you can pull that out. Probably a little easier to take the power off of that once you have it out. So again, you just squeeze on the little gray clips and it comes right out. There we go. So now I'm gonna go get the new bulb and put it in, and then we're pretty much done. So pretty cool, pretty easy. All right, got the new bulb here. Just gonna plug it back in. That's pretty easy. Then the harder part is seeing where it goes, but again, remember the tabs are different sizes here, so it's kind of hard to put it in the wrong way. You may have to move it around a little till you find the right fit on it, and then you just screw it back in clockwise. So let's see, where is the larger hole here? This is probably the hardest thing, doing it blind. Doing it by feel here. Anyway, I think I got it there. No. Alright, so now it's in there. Tug on it, make sure that it works, that it's solid. Then you just take your dust cover, put it back on. I had thought about putting in some LEDs here. I might try that at some point. It might be kind of cool to do. But the thing that I didn't really like is on some of the sizes of LEDs, you have to leave the dust cover off, and I don't want to really do that. So I'm going to do some research and try and figure that out. So hopefully you saw that. I just screwed it back in. And the last step is plug the power back in, and we should be good to go. That's snapped in and solid. Didn't have to take off the light, but now I know how to do that. And that's it. So let's fire it up and see if both lights work. All right, as you can see, both lights are working. I can see the light. Hey, you know, it's a great idea. A bulb goes off over my head to do this kind of stuff yourself. You just have to make sure that you have the right tools, you have the right parts, you do a little research into what you're doing. But you know, I'm all about empowering people to fix things. You know, I do it on tech, do it a little bit on cars, that sort of thing. Anyway, hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have questions. Not that I'm an expert, but you know, I'm happy to help out wherever I can. My main site is at www.HighTechDad.com. I write a bunch of product reviews about tech in the family, that sort of thing. A lot of fix-its, how-tos, other types of things. If you have questions, you can ask me on Twitter, and I'm at HighTechDad. I have a Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/HTDblog, and I'm out there on social media, so you know, feel free to hit me up. Hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys could fix it yourself.